Welcome to Transcendence Talks podcast with your host, licensed professional counselor, Kristy Crabtree. Join us as we build the bridge between psychology and spirituality and discuss psychology for the soul.
Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of Transcendence Talks podcast. I have the most exciting news for you guys today. So I don't know if you guys remember my friend David, who I recorded with several months ago, but we've become friends and it turns out we have a lot in common. And I want you guys to stay tuned for this episode because I have a really special announcement at the end that we're going to talk about in more detail. But just to let you guys know what's going on, David and I are going to be hosting an ayahuasca retreat in Costa Rica with William Henry of Ancient Aliens. You guys know William Henry. He has been on TV for 20 years with a show bridging the ancient world to the way that extraterrestrials have influenced really our development of civilization. And now David has kind of brought the three of us together because we have this shared weird passion of recognizing that psychedelics, especially ayahuasca, bridge that gap between who we are as modern day humans, the ancient world, and our ancestors in the stars. So David, welcome back. I am so excited today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's so good to be back with you. And I'm beyond excited to bring this event to life and have your involvement and to start bringing people down to the medicine, a lot of people that haven't experienced it yet. And I'm really looking forward to looking at people having this experience for the first time and seeing their lives change. It is truly the most rewarding thing I could imagine.
It absolutely is. I know for both of us, we have had transformational experiences with this plant medicine, this master teacher. I'd love for you to share with me, because your experience blew my mind. I'd love to hear more about your experience with ayahuasca and who you met as a result of that journey.
Yeah, so I have a few, I know which one you're talking about. I have a few journeys under my belt, which is certainly not a lot compared to a lot of people that have real vast experience over a long time in other plant medicines, including ayahuasca. But I started in plant medicine with ayahuasca, never having had a psychedelic experience in my life before that. This goes back to 2017. So for people out there that are thinking, this sounds interesting to me, but I don't have any plant medicine experience. And it sounds like maybe I should think about doing something else before I jump all the way into ayahuasca. I would say, think twice about that, because I started with ayahuasca, never did anything before that, and it was perfectly fine. You don't have to have any prior experience or to build up in some way to ayahuasca. Mother ayahuasca will take care of you. She will give you exactly what you need. There's absolutely nothing to fear. And the experience we are providing here with Rhythmia in Costa Rica is so well planned and well orchestrated. There's so much caring and love and experience there that I think first timers should feel nothing but warm and welcome. Mm-hmm. So, and I'll tell you why having William involved also, and you, adds something in terms of a value add to just a general ayahuasca experience. And we can talk about that afterwards. But the experience I think you're referring to, I got into the medicine and I found myself in a modern laboratory. And this laboratory was like just cutting edge. And it was a very bewildering experience out of the gate because, you're looking around and I'm just in this lab. And then I look over to one side and I see that there is an ancient figure there. And that ancient figure was the body of a man with the head of an ibis. Like we all know, like the bird-looking head, the bird man that people have seen probably all their lives, but never really had too much information about what that was about. And he was cloaked in the traditional Egyptian garb. And what took me at first was this kind of contrast between this modern lab and this ancient figure that I knew was immediately associated with Egypt. And this also raises the question about, why do people see Egypt so much in plant medicine?
Yes.
It's just such a common experience.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the answers to that, but certainly the experience in Egypt is so ubiquitous in the plant medicine journey that it does beg the question about what involvement it has and just why. So I didn't have an interaction directly with this being, but but what I was witnessing as I was just watching and observing was that he was taking notes and doing experiments like someone like anybody in a modern lab like a scientist would do, and going from station to station checking on things, having like a pad that looked like a pad to me, making notes, going on, and at some point turned around and recognized me, that I was there. And that was about it. Like in terms of our interaction, it was I'm recognizing you, certainly you've now seen me recognize you, and I'm here. And then was kind of going back to his general thing. It was so like awe-inspiring to see this kind of figure that goes back thousands of years, if not more. But in terms of our mythology and our lore and what we know about Egypt, this is something that I knew was important. So when I got out of the journey, I immediately talked to William about it, and he said, wait, you have to stop because I know exactly what you're talking about. And he said, you just met with Thoth, the ancient god of wisdom and knowledge,
And he's a scribe and he was taking notes.
and he was doing the things that Thoth is always reported to be doing.
Yes.
And he brings out like a figure of Thoth, and then pictures, and then some information, and started to teach me a lot about that. So the reason that experience is so important and relevant here to this conversation, and why William's involvement and yours to some extent, but like we'll talk about that for a second, is that it gave me such a richer context to it. And so like you could come out of this unbelievable experience, but if you don't know who you're interacting with, and you don't know what the impact of that is, and who that figure was, and what you could learn from that, then I think the benefit from it is also limited. So we're going to be bringing our group we're going to have a lot of contact way before the trip, which is, we'll say February 1st to the 8th, and we'll provide that information again. So we have some time, but we're going to be providing our group with a lot of this preparation so that they have a lot of this context, and will be able to interact with you and William to tap into your guys' experience and knowledge and things that you teach on, so that we can have conversations during the week that we're down there, and certainly before, in preparation for what you might see and experience, so that it gives this richness of context that is just beyond useful and valuable. So that's like one little experience for me that was really amazing, and why I think like the involvement of you guys will add on to the regular unbelievable program that Rhythmia already offers. So give me one of your eye experiences so that we can compare notes.
Hey, um, so my most recent Aya experience was this spring. It was in April. At the time in January, my publisher had approached me and said, Kristy, we're getting ready to do a TV show called Writer's Island. She was like, do you have another book inside of you? Do you want to go? And I was like, I don't know. I just finished my first book. I don't know. And I brought that intention into the Aya experience. And along with some other things, right? I had some trauma I wanted to release from my body. I felt I had done the emotional work, but I felt that there was something physical to release. And I know sometimes on Aya you purge, and I thought that will be greatly beneficial because I can feel trauma trapped in my body and I'd like to release it. So I went with those intentions, and I'll be honest, at first I couldn't see how my intentions were ultimately answered. And let me just tell you, they all were, but it didn't unfold all in the ceremony. It unfolded so much later. So the integration was key for me. But when we started in that Maloka, one of the first things that I noticed after I drank my cup of ayahuasca was that there was a snake. It was a huge snake, like nothing I've ever seen before. It seemed to fill the entire room. And there were two men who drank first. And I saw the snake enter these men as if to go through them. And the minute I watched that snake go through these men's bodies, they started purging, violently purging. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, what did I just get myself into? And as soon as that thought finished, I heard a voice. And that voice said, don't be alarmed. I'm here to help. And it was the snake. And I was just thinking, oh my gosh, I'm talking to a snake. Okay, this is crazy. And so the snake said, don't be alarmed. the venom can kill or the venom can heal. Right now, I'm using the venom to open up the channels so that the medicine can go where it needs to go. And I thought, oh wow, that makes sense. Okay. And before I knew it, I was eye to eye with this snake, face to face, and the snake did what it needed to do. It bit me right in my third eye, and my journey began.
Wow.
And I was swept away to the Garden of Eden, although I didn't know it at the time. But I was like, oh, this is a beautiful place. The snake bit me and I've gone to heaven. And I realized that I was in the biblical Garden of Eden. And the snake said, I've never been the deceiver. You've been deceived. And then I got nervous, like, are you deceiving me now? What are we talking about here? And what the snake said was that he was never the devil. He didn't tempt Eve to eat from the fruit of the tree of knowledge, that the snake simply did the same thing it's doing now. It woke her up and she birthed the world of form, and then we descended. And at that very moment, this shaman was standing over me singing the Icaros over my body. And I opened my eyes for a moment because I'm just like, what is going on? This is so intense. And as I looked at her, and these beautiful angelic notes, melodic notes were coming out of her mouth, and she was fanning me with this jungle sound, tree pom-pom. I could see the notes collecting in the ether, in the air. And all of a sudden the notes came into my body, and I watched my DNA unfurl and open as I could feel the snake kind of rising up. And as that snake rose up, it coincided with the music, and my third eye just blew wide open. And I started seeing ancestral past. I started seeing lifetimes on other planets. And it's as if all these things were going on concurrently. The Bible talks about this as the book of life. I call it the Akashic Records. It doesn't matter what you call it. What I came to learn the next morning after this ceremony, when I sat with the shaman, I said, I need to tell you about this snake. And she goes, oh, have you read Jeremy Narby's The Cosmic Serpent? And I said, no, but I will. And she goes, you need to read that book. That book is a theory that the snake represents our DNA. And that if you take all the DNA in your body and you unfurl it, you open it up, it'll reach to Jupiter and back like twice. It's crazy. So I thought, my gosh, in this book, it proposes that these shamans in the Amazonian regions know, they already know that they are reading the DNA. It's how they learned about plants. It's how they learned about healing. It's how they learned energy work. They read it from the records that our bodies hold. And it's very similar to Christianity, right? Like the kingdom of God is within. So all these ancient traditions really have the same knowledge. They just call it different things, which is what I learned from my ayahuasca experience. And it built me a bridge to help other people learn, how do we open up our DNA and read what's there? And how do we come into contact with our cosmic ancestors to learn more about who we are and our purpose in this life? So yeah, that was my ayahuasca experience.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah. And I think it's so useful that people will be able to, in their preparation, because, you know, it's a sort of like a nerve-wracking like preparation, you know, this process. And I feel that too. People need to know that when you commit to the ceremony, that's when it starts to begin. Like, we're going in February. Mother Ayahuasca has already now started to work with us. You know, this is
right.
This is the preparation stage for what's to come. And so in anticipating that, it can be, you go through a lot of emotions during this process. So our group, the benefit that we're offering is that we're going to be very hands-on with not only the wonderful staff at Rhythmia, but through you and through William, so that we can have these, and the group will start to come together, which is really nice, so that we'll kind of have we'll know each other a little bit by the time we get down there. And of course, like we'll meet new people, and none of this is like a requirement, but it's just adds like another layer of comfort, because you know who you're going with a little bit, and it, you know, so it's not like, you know, you're just seeing total strangers all for the first time. But you know, it's such a transformative experience. I definitely define my life in terms of before ayahuasca and after.
Yes.
It's just that impactful.
It is. I mean, honestly, as I integrated, I'm glad you're talking about preparation and integration too, because for me, as I integrated that experience, I was making new novel connections in my life to this information. And it's what framed my entire second book. I
Mhm.
literally owe that experience to my second book being birthed this summer. Yeah, preparation is key because none of us come through life unscathed. We all have trauma, and it's not the trauma itself that really impacts our lives and how we feel, but the way we protect ourselves as a result of the trauma we've had. And so, any plant medicine experience, there's kind of this surrender that needs to happen. And as we build safety in this container and in this group, it's going to be much easier to go into that process and learn how to surrender, how to really look at the things that will be critical to look at so that we can let go of the things that we need to release and really capitalize and use this opportunity.
Yeah. People are afraid of what is it that I'm going to experience and encounter in the journey. And of course, they're all different and you can never predict that exactly. But the only thing I can say with real clarity and understanding without any doubt is that it's going to be probably the richest experience like you've had, and it's going to be totally safe. Nothing is going to happen that you can't handle or that you're not going to be able to overcome. Just Mother Ayahuasca, just she knows what you need, and she knows how to work with you on an individual level to give that to you so that you're going to leave feeling this unbelievable lightness. I remember, and every time this happens, I look down at my feet and I feel like I'm walking on one of those airport walkways where you're just like floating through the world. And of course, that doesn't last forever, but this is like the unbelievable energy that she gives you, and the understanding how we're all just in this journey of life together. And I think everyone's going to feel just so much happier about who they are on an individual level and kind of get back into the world, coming back from this experience just ready to take it on and just improve your life, and then take those lessons and integrate, which is another thing that we're very serious about. It's as amazing as the journey itself is going to be, and this week will be. It's what happens afterwards, as you just said, in the days, the months, and even the years afterwards. How do I take these lessons, integrate them into my life really practically, so that when I wake up every day, my life is now better and better forever because I have this newfound knowledge that Mother Aya gave to me when we were down in Costa Rica. And so like it's there's just no other substitute, for that. And you're a professional therapist, and I'm sure you'll agree that you've seen people make strides in their therapy that they couldn't do with therapy alone in a lot of cases. And so that like combination is really great. So people in therapy, of course, that's a wonderful process. Stay in therapy, but ayahuasca then will give you these tools to be able to even improve that. So it's just, there's just no other experience. This is not a vacation for people. This is, this is a life changing experience. And, there's just, and it's been a few years, since my last one. And so, this is not something that everyone's on their own schedule. But, I think anybody thinking that, yeah, I think this might be right for me, that's who we're looking for, right?
Yes.
Look, it's not for everybody, but if you feel the
No.
call, that doesn't mean that you're going to be without doubt or without any kind of anxiety about it. That doesn't mean it's not for you. You don't have to be gung ho, I don't care, bring it on. Like, that's not what this is about. But if you feel like I want to work on myself, then you're in the right place.
Absolutely. I would say there's some people it's not for. Like, if you are not ready to look deep within yourself, there's a saying I love, the things you run from will chase you. If you feel like you're being chased by your demons, but you're not ready to stop and turn around and pull off that mask that the Scooby Doo bad guys wear, maybe it's not the right time. But if you're one who is a seeker, if you're ready to figure out, why am I stuck in my life? Why do I feel like there's something I'm missing, or I feel disconnected from source, disconnected from God? The path to God is the path back to your heart. And this will carve that path for you. So if you are ready to know who you are, if you're ready to know God personally, it is an unbelievable experience to connect you back into the truest aspects of you. But if you're still running, if you're still blaming, if you're still in a victim mind state and mentality, you have a lot of protectors up, a lot of walls, and Mother Aya will take them all down, and it might be too much too soon. So it's something to consider, Yeah.
No, yeah, it is. And people out there that are listening to this will know whether they feel like it's right for them and the timing. It's all in divine timing. And if you end up in a maloca drinking ayahuasca, it's because it was the right thing to do.
That's right.
And nobody ever regrets it. And the things that you'll learn about yourself are just astounding. And I heard someone recently make a comparison between mushrooms and ayahuasca, saying mushrooms are really cosmic. This was their interpretation anyway, and it'll show you about the universe, where ayahuasca more shows you about yourself and
Mm,
your place in it. I don't know if that's it, but it resonated with me. I mean, these are generalizations, of course.
mhm.
So, the experiences can be so wide and so varied, but, it will resonate with you as the individual traveler partaking in this medicine. I think it's like you're just going to come away with an indescribable experience. And I just love looking at the look on people's faces. I remember like my last one, that for people that had never tried it before, they're like, how is my life ever going to be the same again? And my response was, it's not. It's not going to be the same again. And people you're going to encounter in the world aren't going to realize the changes that are being made within you, right? And that's okay, because everyone is on their own path, on their own timing. But you will look at the world in a completely different way, and who you are and what our place is in the universe. And it's just such an expanded sense of consciousness. Um,
Yes.
we can't wait for it. I mean, and the trip it's really chock full in terms of the program. If you want to get into that, you're going
Yeah.
to have, first of all, it's a 5-star resort at Rhythmia. It obviously has a reputation. They've done thousands of ceremonies for people. So you don't have the extra challenge of not knowing what you're going to encounter or if you can trust it. Everyone's going to go through a medical screening first just to make sure everything's fine. And then they have first class medical attention staff that's on site all throughout the process, the whole week, throughout all during the ceremonies, to make sure everybody's okay. I've never seen anybody have an adverse experience that required medical assistance, by the way,
Mhm.
and never in my life, and nor have I heard of one. But there is this extra layer of sort of safety and security for people that likely are taking it for the first time, that maybe will give them more comfort, which is also good. You're going to be able to get, massage, mud bath, some educational experience, yoga. So there's just all these like activities in the middle that will just give you a chance to integrate sort of the spiritual side as well as the physical body, which is why you need to really be serious about the diet, the dieta, and the physical preparation, because this is our vessel. This is, who we are as we go into ceremony. So following that diet is going to make your vessel more open to the best experience you could have.
Yeah, that physical part of preparation is just as important as the emotional part of preparation. You want to, like David mentioned, just follow that dieta. It's a really kind of a bland diet, meatless diet, low sodium, all the things, like real plant based. It excludes sex, all kinds of things, right? Because you want to keep your energy clean and pure, and you're kind of giving the medicine the optimal vessel to move through so that you get the most out of your experience. Because, the dieta comes from the Amazonian wisdom of the shamans who commune with these plants, and they listen to the plants as a teacher. And it's the plants who actually guide and teach the shamans how it is best administered. So it's critical, to really, like you said, the ceremony starts long before you come and sit in the ceremony in Costa Rica. The ceremony starts the minute you make that commitment to yourself. And it's a deep, deep honoring of your body, your mind, your emotions, and your soul. And so it starts early on.
Yeah. And the benefit of having these 4 ceremonies in a row. So you get down on a Sunday, I think, or Saturday. You have a Sunday integration, and then like one day, and then like on the Monday you start medicine, Monday night. And so there will be 4 consecutive ceremonies: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Here's one benefit that I really want to highlight for people if they look at Rhythmia, in particular, just to do some research, is that we were just notified that we have the really fortunate benefit of having Taito Juanito do the closing ceremony for us on Thursday. He's a medicine master. Some of his initiates are going to be conducting ceremony on the initial days, but we're really getting the benefit that not everybody is fortunate enough to receive of having Juanito do our closing ceremony. So during, and they're cumulative. So you're going to have varied experiences over the days. Certainly, I think that's safe to assume. They're not going to be the same thing, one after another. And they build off of each other. So you get more comfortable in the medicine, it's in you already. And so you get more opened up, and then you allow Mother Aya to work with you how she deems fit, and just in the best, most way for you to progress, I guess. So that's really fortunate.
It is. I am so excited to get to work with this shaman. So excited. And it's their job they are a master of walking two worlds. It's what they do. And so they're holding the space for us emotionally, but they're holding the space spiritually. They can see spirits come in and out of the Maloka. They are like these energy wizards who call in the four corners of the earth, and they use their spirit animals to keep the energies of the Maloka pure and clean. And so their mastery and their expertise is going to lend itself to a spiritually and emotionally safe ceremony.
Totally. Yeah. Totally safe. And this will be my first time doing it really like in the Amazon, like where the medicine comes from. And while I've had these life-changing experiences, as I've said, but none down in the Amazon. And Costa Rica is such a magical place, one of, several. But so having the experience there under the supervision of these masters, it just makes it so unique in a way that you just don't experience just in any other place if you're sitting in someone's house in the middle of, somewhere, right? Which can be beneficial too, don't get me wrong, but there's something just so sacred about, Costa Rica, and in terms of this alien phenomenon, in terms of, people that are there that are looking at that. And I have encountered these beings in ayahuasca, also in other, medicines, but ayahuasca too. And so you never know what you're going to get, but it's going to be, I just like to stress that it's all for your greater good, whatever happens. And even the difficult things, these are things that you're going to confront in your life that you might have been having difficulty with. And ayahuasca will open the door to that, where at least you're going to have this newfound perspective on this maybe problem or this problem area that you've had in your life, maybe for many, many years. And you're going to be able to see that in a way that will help you improve and how to deal with that when you come back. And so, it's just, you're never going to experience anything that will give you the benefit to improve your life like this. I can't, stress this enough. So I'm so eager for anybody, interested to please inquire and join us, because we're going to change your life. And not us, okay, ayahuasca, okay, but just our affiliation with it. It just, what job can you have that you bring people to this peace and joy and prosperity, and you have an involvement in that process, that you open the door for them. And just to see that is just on a personal level just so rewarding that I could never imagine doing anything else in my life at this point. And years ago, I was a commercial litigator. I'm an attorney going into court, in New York. My life today couldn't be further from that. And not to say anything, negative about my lawyer colleagues out there, but this is a way more rewarding life, what I get out of every day now. And so I'm just so thankful to be able to offer this to people now.
Me too. You had alluded to the fact, like, therapy is beneficial, but it is. And if I wouldn't do it if I didn't believe in psychotherapy the way that I do. But the magic, the way that plant medicine can accelerate a healing journey, because it taps you into the deepest layers of who you are. And in therapy, it can take a long time to remove those layers, build the trust, feel safe in your body enough to examine the things that we've chosen to run from for so long. And here in ayahuasca, you're sitting face to face with yourself, and there is no running, there is no looking away. And when you start to have resistance to the process, you tend to purge. And that purge tends to open up those layers of resistance so that you can take it a layer deeper. And she is a wise mother, she's a loving mother, and she's a fiercely tough mother who will give it to you without sugarcoating anything.
Right.
But wrapped with so much love. Like, this is exactly what you need. And yes, this might hurt, but it's for your own good.
Yeah, everybody knows, if your mom ever kicked your butt for one reason or another, it comes from love. That's
Yes.
never ever a question, right? And so yeah, you're right.
And
It's
it's
all about
mostly
you.
you just confronted with your own crap. It's like you've actually created this. And honestly, the biggest gift I has given me is the realization that I'm the creator of my own reality. And I had a moment, it was an ecstatic moment at you mentioned how Aya, these experiences build on each other, and they do. It's like she had to take me to the depths of my lower energy centers, into the trauma, into the pain. And then she took me to the heights of ecstasy, into the bliss of my soul and the bliss of what it means to be in unity consciousness with the divine. And when I remembered my divine nature, I was taken over with this bliss. And I stood up, and the shaman made eye contact with me and nodded, like, come over here. And I just held her and cried in like the happiest tears ever. And I said, I never want to forget who I am again, because ayahuasca helped me remember my divinity. And I just said, I pray I never forget again. And I've never forgotten. It was like I got to reclaim the piece of me that is always connected to the divine, that's never alone. Loneliness has been a thing of the past since then. It really has, because I know who I am now. And it's one thing to be told you are divine in nature, it's another to have an experiential awareness of your own divinity, because now it's awake and alive in your cells, and you never forget it again. You
Yeah.
never forget it. And that's been the greatest gift that she's given me. And I am so grateful to be able to share that remembering with other people.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a feeling of, as you say, it's remembering, because you're going to have this experience and realize that you knew, or what you're going through, and you're going to be confused about how well you know this and why it's so familiar. It's because this is who you are. This is really where you come from, and this is really who you are, and that you're so much greater and so much more powerful than the person that you thought you were up until the time that you sat down with the medicine. That you
Mm-hmm.
think you're just this little individual, and you're not really of any significance, and to have this kind of small vision of really who you are. And when you go through this, you're going to realize that you are the entire ocean at the same time. And I think it was the Yogananda who said, yeah, you think you're this drop, but you are the entire ocean, veiled by the waves of mortality, essentially, like that you're just like this physical being, right? But you're not, and to realize that, to actually feel it, will connect you with, if you're a religious person, it will connect you and enrich that feeling and that process and your relationship to religion. And if you're not religious, and you're just, you're more universal in nature, it will give you that kind of context. And whatever that is, whoever you are, it's going to enrich that, so that you'll just be able to continue to progress. And if you're in therapy, that's great. As they've said before, the cliche, it's like 10,000 hours of therapy in a night, or we're going to
Yeah.
have a few nights, right? So maybe so you're just going to have these tools that there's nothing else you could ever do that will come close to a substitute for that. Listen, this is not a inexpensive experience. And so that's a fact. That's true. I think hands down, it's the best money that anybody would ever spend. And for what you get, you're getting the best experience in a 5-class resort with all the safety and health and that you could ever wish for. That's why we started in this process with Rhythmia, and why we're just so excited to bring that to life, and they're so excited for our group to come down too, which is really great. We've been working with them for a bit now, getting everything prepared and arranged, and so everybody just is so looking forward to it.
And one thing we haven't talked about that I'm really excited for is there's going to be a special synergy in this group, because I would say, without being shy about it, that you, me, and William are contactees. We have had direct contact with extraterrestrials personally, and when that happens, there tends to be a attractor pattern, a factor that kind of opens up, especially if that's a shared intention in the group, if that's a shared interest, then we do tend to get more of those experiences. So I've found that ayahuasca works on a very personal level, but there's also this quality of like a theme that tends to run through a group of people sitting together in a shared experience. And so it'll be really interesting. I'm really excited to see how our star families respond when we have a shared intention and a shared hunger for knowledge and to really intimately know them. on a deeper level, what will come to fruition. You just kind of never know. I know when I personally bring people through experiences, they tend to show up and people get to know their star families and start to have experiences. So it's exciting. You just kind of never know what's going to happen, especially when like minds come together for an
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah. The group nature of it, people ask all the time, you're sitting in Maloka and there are other people. So is it a group experience or an individual experience? And I say it's an individual experience, but it is directly influenced by the energy of the group and that collective. And so that's what changes all the time. I have had energetic ties or connections to someone in our group, like even for a limited time. So you are really connected to the group. And that does have a direct influence. But yes, I mean, essentially, you're not interacting, you're not talking to people. If there's any interaction during it, it's always going to be with one of the ceremony leaders who, if you need any assistance for any kind or for whatever reason, yes, there are people there that are going to be able to help and assist you. You're not having any conversations with anybody, but they do impact it. So you bring your energy to that, which is relevant for other people as well in the same way. So yeah, it's not like it is definitely influenced by that. It's not like you're just sitting there taking it in your own room by yourself, right? So this is meant to be a collective experience at the same time.
Yeah, you find a lot of that stuff out during integration the next day,
Yeah.
because everybody's eager to share the next day. It's like we've all had these just mind-blowing experiences, and the next day people are kind of like, my gosh, what was your journey like? And everybody's journaling and integrating and moving their bodies to bring that wisdom in. And so you start sharing. And I found that the way the spirit of ayahuasca works in the collective setting is like, she'll help you find the people who are maybe going through something similar, or you find, oh my gosh, I'm sitting with somebody who's had a very similar trauma or who's had a very similar experience, or we've had this kind of loss also. And that's just how spirit works. There tends to be a synergy in the group that's very magical. You can't even make this stuff up. It's like the people who are supposed to journey together always do. And it blows my mind every time. It just blows
Yeah.
my mind.
It really is destined and meant to be. I just can't. I keep expressing how excited I am, but like this is all I think about. Really, this is my life personally and professionally. So I'm really happy to be fortunate enough to be able to integrate my life, work, and passion all together. In one place where this is kind of who I am at this point, and I'm looking forward to seeing the transformation that everyone's going to be going through.
Me too. So, David, I am going to share all of the contact information to acquire about this retreat in the show notes. I will also put it in my Instagram link tree, so you can go to my Instagram handle. You can see everything. I don't know if it's going to be there for you as well, or if there's a better way for people to reach out.
Yeah, we'll include it all.
Okay.
So that, yeah, if you want to reach out to us or you or me or William,
Mm-hmm.
I created recently at the beginning of the year for the first time ever. I don't do social media, but I created a channel to talk about my medicine experiences and kind of the nuts and bolts that I think people they could benefit from, which is like, what's ayahuasca? What am I going to experience? Like, what is the purging? What is that like to go through? And then I talk about integration things. Here's what I've learned, and there are these lessons. So maybe like a little context if anyone's interested to see that. So we're just making myself available as you are and as William will be. And we're really going to be very active in talking to people in our group so that we can make sure all questions are addressed and anything that comes up in terms of how we can best prepare everybody. So we're going to include all contact information.
Absolutely. Perfect. I'm trying to think, is there anything else that our audience needs to know today? We will actually be sitting with you guys in the medicine too. I forgot to mention that.
Yes.
We'll be there. We're going to be engaged. We're going to be in this experience with you guys.
Yeah.
So,
and then we planned for, I think we're going to bring William in, or maybe just you and William in, maybe next week or the next 2 weeks to sit down and have like another similar talk. And you guys can address William's experience and his experience in psychedelics and how that has informed his work in ancient civilizations and the whole alien phenomenon. So people that are really interested in that from ancient aliens will really love William and have a chance to not only spend a whole week with him too, but to actually really gain a lot of his knowledge and experience while he's also sitting in the medicine with us. So it's going to be just really, really just cannot wait.
Yeah, me too. Me
Yeah.
too. I am so excited. So, yeah, we will be having another conversation. If anybody has questions, if there's things that you guys want answered from David, from myself, from William, be sure to leave those questions. Drop a comment because we will be having William on with us very soon to expand this conversation, especially around extraterrestrials and those kinds of phenomenon, because there is a huge link between, it's not really the psychedelics, it's consciousness. ETs are a phenomena of consciousness. And so when we go into expanded states, whether that's psychedelics or breath work, we can set an intention to commune with our star families. And so if you guys have questions about that aspect, I feel like I know something. William knows a lot more. I mean, he has been on TV talking about the ET connection to ancient civilization and history for over 20 years. This man is a wealth of knowledge. Like William is kind of like the grandfather I wish I had. Like he's got this huge library of books, and he's written books, and has had such a vast experience that I could probably just sit down and listen to him all day long.
Yeah, and the context he brings in, like from religion, will really, I think, give people a lot of really great background and information as they go into the experience. Because obviously, we come from religion. All of us have some background, whatever our nature is, where we come from, and how that really, intersects with consciousness in general. So there's such a richness to it that it's such a benefit that everybody down there will get this really rare opportunity to be able to sit with us, because you can have a conversation with somebody, but to go through a medicine experience and to be able to be with somebody over the course of a week is just incomparable. So this is like, it just such a unique journey that we are putting together here.
Yeah. Yeah. If you guys are looking for tribe and you have not found like-minded tribe, this is going to be a place where
Yeah.
once we leave here together, our lives will not be the same. And we're going to have an experience that we'll remember for a lifetime and talk about for a lifetime and share. And it's going to be something that we walk away from that makes us bonded stronger, because only we will understand what it is that we experience down in the jungle. So I cannot wait for you guys to join us in Costa Rica, February 1st through the 8th. If you guys have questions, please reach out. If you guys aren't certain, please reach out. Like David said, we really want to be hands-on in helping you discern, is this the right time? Is this the right fit for me? Because we want you to be really clear before you go, and we want to make sure that you guys have the best experience possible. So please reach out. Let us know your questions. And thank you all for being here with us today. We'll see you next time on Transcendence Talks.